What's going on, everybody? It's John here, and today I'm going to show you how to use the Color Checker Passport for video. If you've ever had any issues color grading in post, whether it's through Premiere or any other color grading software, I highly recommend getting this. I've been using it for a few weeks now, and every time I get into Premiere and start color grading, it is just a big help. So to start things off, I'm going to use a basic conversion LUT. For reference, I shot this in S-Log2 and I'm using the A7C from Sony. So I'm going to link all of my resources below, but for this one I'm using the Sony S-Log2 to Rec 709 from Bounce Color. It's free and it's really easy to use. You just go here to basic correction and just throw in the LUT. Next, I'm going to just quickly select my white balance. I'm not going to really get into that too much, but all you have to do is click this and then just click your perfect white and it applies it for you. After that, I'm going to go into this creative tab. Now this step is optional, but I personally just really like doing this because it can turn your footage into looking really nice. For this look, I'm going to apply a blockbuster LUT, and this I got off of the Sony website. It's from Alistair Chapman, and like I said before, I will link it below in case any of you guys have a hard time finding it. But you see here, it kind of throws everything off, and it's super intense. So we're gonna lower that, I'm gonna maybe around this range, probably about 13. I think that looks nice. You can check the before and the after. After that, I'm just going to throw the saturation up all the way. And it looks bad right now, but you'll soon understand why. So now that our saturation's up all the way, I'm going to switch from the Effect Controls tab and I'm going to go over to the Lumetri scopes. Now right now, I'm currently using the Vector Scope YUV. And if you're not on that, you can easily just deselect whatever you're on and switch over to this. Now, everything on this scope it's pulling everything you see here and it's showing it here. Now what we don't want to do is use everything. We want to specifically use the first column, and we can easily do that by going to your opacity, using the pen tool and drawing around it. Super easy. Now here, now that we've singled out everything, it shows points. Now this color checker is fairly accurate, but the blue is a little off and the green is a little off, so we'll adjust everything slightly until it looks good. To do that, what you'll need to do is use the hue versus saturation tab and the hue versus hue tab. Firstly, you're gonna see all of these major lines. What you want to do is select each one and put a nice dot on them. And make sure to do this for both. Alright, once you've done this, we're going to want to focus on the hue versus hue. Make sure that each line points at each box. Now each one of these boxes correlates to each box over here. All of these boxes match up. So we're gonna have to move these up and down to make sure that each line is pointing directly at those boxes. A trick that you can use is whenever you're moving these up and down, hold shift so that you can't move it left or right. You can only move it up or down. As you can see, when I move it up or down, the colors are changing in the magenta box. So what I'm gonna go do is make sure it's pointing at magenta. And since it's a little messed up here, it's not perfectly straight, what we're gonna wanna do is boost the saturation. That's why I had you guys do both of them instead of one. As we can see, it's slightly off, so we just need to lower it a little bit, or raise it, I mean. And now it's pointing at the box. And you can kind of do whatever you want to the saturation, because at the end of the day, it's your look. You don't have to like what I like, but I'm gonna show you the basics. So next we'll switch over to red. Red is pretty close, so we just kind of need to move it until it looks good. And I think that is pretty good right there. You see I didn't really move it much. And this is preference, but I'm gonna lower that red a little bit. It's a little too red for me. And maybe raise it. Okay. Next is blue. Blue is completely off. So you're gonna grab this, just move it. Move it to blue. That is pointing directly at blue. Yep, that's true blue. Next, we'll go on to green. And green is moving a little bit of everything, as you can see. So you may have to go back around and do this a few times just to make sure everything is correct. All right, let's do yellow. Yellow's not too bad. We just have to bring it down slightly. And then lastly, we'll do cyan, which also isn't too bad. So that looks like it's pointing directly at cyan. So now that we've done that, what I will go ahead and do is go back to the effects and reset everything. We don't need this mask anymore, so that can go. And we can just reset the position and the scale. And after that, what we can do is go back to this tab right over here and lower that saturation to whatever number you want. I like a little bit of saturation, so I will keep some of it. Let's see. I think that looks pretty good. And then I like to turn up the vibrance a little bit. Yeah, that looks good. So, as you can see, this is still pretty dull. We'll go back to the curves and back to the Lumetri scopes, and we'll switch this over to the waveform RGB. And then we're going to deselect the vector scope, and it should look something like this. And now we'll just slightly adjust the RGB curves to make sure you're getting the full dynamic range. Now I'm gonna lower these slightly till it's touching the bottom. You don't want it to go all the way under because it'll clip. That looks really bad. So you just want to slightly adjust it. I think that looks pretty good right there. Nothing too crazy. And then we'll do the same thing. As you can tell, it looks like it's clipping, but I can't really tell right now, so I will lower that a little bit. Yep, look, we missed all of that color. So we'll lower that slightly. Yep, that looks better. And then the middle here, this is so you get the full dynamic range. If you bring up the midtones, you're gonna see a lot of those bright white spots hitting your subject. So we're just gonna slightly lower that, not too much, nothing crazy, nothing crazy. So as far as curves go, I am completely finished. I'm honestly happy with the results. I think it looks really nice. So I'm gonna go ahead and close the curves. And next, what you can work on is just your basic correction. I really save this for last a lot of times because once you do the curves and your creative tab, you can move over to this tab and kind of finalize what your look is. And I think that looks pretty good. Our wheels, the wheels can be used for the fine tunings. As you can see, I moved the midtones over. It's a more green look. Moving this way, it's a more magenta look. Shadows are self-explanatory. It changes the color of the shadows. And then the highlights, changes the color of the highlights. So I'm not gonna really touch these today. If you guys want me to do a more in-depth version of this video and cover color wheels and all of the different curves tabs and just kind of breaking down a little bit more, I can do that for you guys. It's not an issue. after we've done the basics, we can move on to adding whatever creative look that you want. In this shot specifically, I wanted to give it a little bit of a film look. So I'm gonna add a little bit of grain, and then I will add one of the LUTs that I have, and I'll see you guys then. So like I said, I went ahead and added on a few looks, creative looks to it. I messed with the wheels a little bit and I added on a nice looking LUT. Here's the final product. I'm gonna end this video off by showing you guys a little bit of the before and the after for a few clips, and that's about it. If there's anything else you want me to talk about in the future, let me know, and I'll see you guys next time.